Bugzy Malone opens the conversation acknowledging the profound impact of being viewed as a role model, especially by vulnerable people like children facing real struggles. He narrates a touching encounter with a young autistic boy who called him a superhero and a safe space, reminding Bugzy that his words carry weight beyond entertainment. This awareness compels him to approach his public persona with greater seriousness, understanding that some people genuinely take strength and inspiration from what he projects. He recognizes the paradox in this role. While the pressure of being a role model can feel like an extra burden, it simultaneously fuels his discipline and ambition. The responsibility sharpens his focus, a crucial driver, especially when motivation wavers. Bugzy embraces the pressure as a privilege, referencing the philosophy of bodybuilder Chris Bumstead, who famously said, "Pressure is a privilege." The pressure helps maintain his edge and guards against complacency, keeping him aligned with the higher version of himself that his audience admires. Bugsy's journey in music transcended commercial aspirations. It became a vital therapeutic outlet. At his lowest points, notably wrestling with depression, he found relief in channeling his emotions into lyrics and freestyles. Music served as a language for his internal struggles and a mirror reflecting his vulnerabilities back to him in a form he could begin to understand and accept. This method allowed Bugzy to alchemize trauma from his younger years into art. He also explores how his honesty regarding mental health was ahead of its time within the rap genre, which often shrouded such topics in stigma. By openly discussing personal pain, he created connectivity, especially for those invisible or marginalized, like the young autistic boy he mentions. Music, for Bugzy, became more than entertainment. It became a vehicle for authenticity, healing, and human connection. His art was an embodiment of truth resonating with people on a level that defied easy articulation. Reflecting on the first decade of his career, Bugzy describes it as a period of intense chaos, marked by unpredictability, scant sleep, and relentless hustle. This phase was foundational but fractured, resembling walking in undriven snow without a clear roadmap. The demanding circumstances required him to lean heavily into the chaos to break through barriers. Balance was a luxury inappropriate at that stage. Now, having moved beyond the initial hustle, Bugzy finds balance to be the core solution for sustainable success. He stresses that balance must be nurtured gradually, once foundational skills and stability are earned. Attempting balance too early could be counterproductive, since the basics of simply surviving and building momentum require sacrifice and focus. His philosophy is to model the rise, not the result, understanding that techniques effective for a successful veteran are often inaccessible or inefficient for beginners navigating chaos. Bugzy details a harrowing bike accident that resulted in a fractured skull and kneecap, placing him in a life-or-death situation that forced deep introspection. The accident shattered his physical independence, a cornerstone of his identity as someone who always prided himself on self-sufficiency. This vulnerability required him to confront fears of dependence and mortality in a profound way. Rather than breaking him, this trauma became a catalyst for growth. The experience taught him new levels of resilience and self-love, underscoring the fragility and preciousness of life. His recovery was mentally taxing, but goals such as acting in a Guy Ritchie film provided vital motivation during rehab. Bugzy emphasizes that discipline, the ability to do difficult things even when unmotivated, was integral in pushing through this dark chapter. The accident ultimately became a defining moment, affirming his commitment to rebuilding a better, more centered self. Fame brought Bugzy a unique set of challenges, among them the experience of being objectified. He highlights an insightful dialogue on male objectification as being viewed as a resource, people perceiving him primarily for what he can offer, whether attention, connections, or validation. This transactional view complicates genuine human interactions and necessitates skepticism as a protective measure. Despite public exposure, Bugzy resists taking fame too seriously, focusing instead on grounding himself in his spirit and core identity. He recognizes that fame is fleeting and dependent on external validation, which can distort self-perception. By framing himself not as a celebrity but simply as who he is, Bugzy preserves agency over his identity. This mindset helps him resist the isolating effects of fame and maintain connections grounded in authenticity, a difficult but essential balance in the celebrity arena. Throughout his life, Bugzy experienced various forms of trauma, from witnessing violence in his family to enduring abusive dynamics. He speaks candidly about how such experiences eroded his ability to love himself, a core barrier that hampered his relationships with others and his sense of belonging. Self-love is framed not as narcissism, but as an essential foundation for any meaningful connection or achievement. The aftermath of trauma, he acknowledges, is often a battle to restore kindness toward oneself amidst internalized shame. In his case, the bike crash forced a reckoning with mortality and self-acceptance. Bugzy states that trauma chips away at self-love, but healing requires leaning into those painful emotions rather than evading them. He advocates addressing this pain head-on while maintaining boundaries to avoid being overwhelmed, emphasizing that this process distinguishes those who transcend trauma from those trapped by it. Boxing played a critical role in Bugzy's approach to discipline and mental strength. The sport provided structure amid chaos, teaching him to prepare physically and psychologically for the battles life throws. Training for boxing bouts required consistency and resilience, despite fluctuating motivation and emotional states, lessons directly transferable to his career and personal challenges. He highlights how physical training anchored his mindset, allowing him to face external pressures and internal doubts with clarity and resolve. Boxing sharpened his ability to endure pain, recover from setbacks, and maintain focus on long-term objectives. Bugzy credits this discipline with supporting him through periods of hardship, including his accident recovery and complex industry dynamics, underpinning his reputation for relentless work ethic. Bugzy recounts a dramatic incident involving an attempted break-in at his home by local youths, presenting an intense test of self-control and strategic thinking. Rather than resorting to uncontrolled violence, he draws on his boxing training and psychological tactics to defuse a volatile situation. His measured approach to confrontation ensured safety for himself and his family without escalating conflict unnecessarily. This episode underscores the complex realities of navigating fame within a tough environment. Living in a big house attracted unwanted attention and threats, blurring boundaries between public and private life. Bugzy's ability to remain calm and assert control during such high-stress moments reflects learned maturity and situational awareness, vital skills for protecting loved ones and preserving his career trajectory. Bugzy discusses his evolving relationship with wealth, explaining how attaining financial success initially served as a critical escape from hardship and a tool for freedom. However, he quickly realized that money itself is not a panacea for deeper psychological wounds or life's challenges. Purchasing luxury items, like a Lamborghini, brought fleeting satisfaction, but no lasting resolution to internal struggles or broken relationships. He warns against conflating financial gain with holistic well-being, emphasizing that money provides the freedom necessary to address and heal personal issues rather than eliminating them outright. Bugzy advocates viewing wealth as an enabler, a launchpad that offers options and time, but requires ongoing investment in self-development, mental health, and meaningful connections. This nuanced perspective challenges common assumptions about success and happiness. Throughout his career, Bugzy credits clear intention and strategic planning as foundational to his achievements. Even amidst unorthodox circumstances, he worked meticulously to design a vision of his future, from lifestyle aspirations to personal growth goals, and used that vision as a compass for decision-making. His approach centers on defining detailed outcome boxes rather than leaving life to chance. He contrasts this intentionality with peers who lack defined objectives, noting that readiness arises from preparation and clear goals. Bugzy approaches challenges like a boxer studying opponents, always anticipating the next move and positioning himself advantageously. This strategy enabled him to seize opportunities decisively and maintain momentum even when facing uncertainty or industry obstacles. As Bugzy's career advanced and the spotlight intensified, maintaining authenticity became a nuanced challenge. He stresses the importance of remembering who he was and the formative experiences that shaped his identity, resisting pressures to conform or dilute his message. His artistic integrity involves balancing growth with staying grounded in personal truths, a careful negotiation in an evolving public arena. He speaks of himself not merely as a rapper, but as an artist and storyteller, committed to producing work that embodies sincerity and depth. This commitment demands absorbing diverse experiences and influences outside of the spotlight to replenish creative inspiration. Bugzy acknowledges that some audiences seek easy archetypes, but he embraces complexity and continual evolution, even if that unsettles people used to simpler narratives. The overarching theme Bugzy presents is one of unorthodox strategy forged through hardship and guerrilla-style adaptation. His rise defied conventional industry trajectories, marked by navigating chaotic beginnings, personal trauma, and a nascent UK rap scene lacking established infrastructure. His persistence in crafting his own path, learning from failure, and evolving responsively embodies a unique blueprint for success. This unorthodox approach includes embracing multidisciplinary growth, spanning music, film, boxing, and business, and continuously redefining what success looks like. Bugzy embraces complexity and imperfection, rejecting tidy labels or boxed genres. For him, success is a multifaceted process, blending discipline, strategy, authenticity, and resilience, a journey he continues to navigate deliberately as he forges new frontiers.